which I was doing. I was working in the black market. I would, I would buy cigarettes and liquor and sell them so I could afford to pay the prostitutes.
Well, now there's a real recycling event.
Yeah, I
now,
had no
has
plan.
anybody else ever do that before?
Well, the colonels were doing it, and all the colonels, majors. I would sell cigarettes and liquor. They were selling refrigerators, furniture, and who knows how many vehicles.
Yeah.
So I was a small man in the pecking order, and I sold what the average Vietnamese wanted, cigarettes and liquor.
A man of the people, Victor.
Yes, that's one way to put it. But anyways, so they court-martialed me for dealing in the black market and sleeping on guard duty. But I was acquitted.
I was going to say, sleeping on guard duty could be pretty serious.
But thank God I ran into a major who interviewed me during the process of the court-martial. As soon as I tried to defend myself, they put me in the middle of the night. I countersued the CO for lying. The CO said I was AWOL for 4 days, which was not true.
No.
Those days I had asked permission from the sergeant, from where I repaired radios, to spend time defending myself. And I asked him, could you put it in writing? Because I knew I was smart by then. And he, and so he put it in writing. And so when I countersued the CO for perjury, because I used the letter from the sergeant who didn't know I was going to use it against the CO, they put me under arrest in the middle of the night. I was sleeping, and they woke me out of it, and they threw me in Long Ben jail.
LBJ.
LBJ.
Yeah.
It was called LBJ after Long Ben. That's how it was spelled. And we named it after the president, LBJ Stockade. So the very first time I walked out into the yard, the prison yard, and this was just a barbed wire with wood. It just was all wood, barbed wire place. I looked across the field, and there was a softball game on, and they were all blacks. Of course, if you remember at that time, there was a lot of riots in Los Angeles, Watts Power, and they had all those jerseys.
Martin Luther King got assassinated in that time.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It was. I didn't realize I was so deep into my own problems. I couldn't see beyond my own problems.
Yeah.
I didn't realize all what was going on. So I saw a bucket of water, and I started to drink from it, and they come running over and surrounded me, all these black soldiers that were being court-martialed, and some of them were there for fragging their own officers.
Wow.
And so they tried to pull the ladle from my hand. One of them, he said, Watts Power. And I held on to it because I figured I had to hold my ground in jail. Otherwise, prisoners will give you a hard time. And I always stood my ground against, people who tried to intimidate you. So what happened next was that he says, you just arrived here. And I says, yes. He says, well, we run this place. I says, yes. I said, I haven't drank of water. He says, well, we let go of it. I says, no. So he slaps me in the face. And he says, you want to fight? And I said, no. And he slaps me again. And I said, no, I'm looking at I'm surrounded. I don't see a white face there. Slaps me again. So by the third time he hits me now, I says, okay, I'll fight. So we go behind him. We start a fight. And I was busy taking his head, banging it against the side of the building.
The old tradition.
Yeah. So when I got hit from behind, and I was found unconscious by the guards, and they told me that they got here just in time.
You did good, Victor, but you were unconscious, so we thought maybe we could help you out a little bit.
So then they, of course, my trial finally came up. They had to put me in protective custody from the rest of the blacks because I fought with them. And I was all by myself in a little cage, a cell. But we had the trial, and I was acquitted. And during the course, prior to that, I was interviewed by a major, and he was a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I forget his name. Was it Major Olson? Yeah, I think it was Olson.
You had Major Olson too?
Well, I don't know. The thing is, he was interviewing me, and he says, well, Victor, he says, why why are you fighting these charges? I said, well, I said, if they had done it, the charge was that I was unfit for military duty. And I forget what general law that is under the service, but I said I wouldn't mind if they did it the first week I was in the service, but I got 1 month left, and they jumping.
I'm better now.
He testified on my behalf at the trial, and I was acquitted, and thank God I got an honorable discharge. But the Army did not like my beliefs,